Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about a massive global event that's making waves: youth-led climate protests. All over the world, young people are taking to the streets, demanding urgent action to address the climate crisis. This isn't just a local movement, it's happening across continents from Europe to the Americas, and Asia. From New York to Berlin, Sydney to Sao Paulo, thousands of passionate young activists are rallying together. Their message? It's time for governments to get serious about fighting climate change before it's too late. So, why are these protests happening now? Well, these strikes are part of a coordinated global movement driven by the increasing frustration young people feel towards governments. They believe leaders aren't acting quickly enough to tackle climate change. Extreme weather events are becoming more frequent, and the impacts of global warming are hitting home harder than ever. In the past year alone, we've seen devastating floods in Libya, wildfires across Europe, and record-breaking heatwaves in the United States. These climate disasters have left millions displaced and caused billions of dollars in damage. At the forefront of this movement are youth activists, people like Greta Thunberg, who inspired the Fridays for Future movement. But it's not just her. We're seeing new leaders emerge from all corners of the globe, including indigenous youth in the Amazon and activists in African nations, where the impacts of climate change are often felt the hardest. These young leaders are pushing back against corporate greed, environmental destruction, and the slow pace of policy changes. Their voices are loud, clear, and impossible to ignore. The core message these young protesters are sending to world leaders is simple: we don't have time. They're calling for radical shifts in policy, including a swift transition to renewable energy, halting deforestation, and reducing carbon emissions to net zero by 2050. But the clock is ticking. Governments have made promises, like the Paris Agreement in 2015, but activists say those commitments aren't being met. That's why they're pushing for more accountability and action, demanding that world leaders stop delaying and start delivering. So, what can you do to support this cause? It's not just about showing up to a protest, though that's a great way to start. We can also make lifestyle changes, like reducing our energy consumption, supporting sustainable brands, and, most importantly, using our voices to demand action from policymakers. Every action counts, but to really make a difference, we need systemic change. That's why these young activists are so focused on influencing political and corporate decision-making. They understand that without large-scale reform, individual efforts won't be enough to stop the climate crisis. These global climate protests are a reminder that the future is in our hands. The youth are leading the charge, but they need all of us to stand with them. If we act together, we can create a future where the planet thrives and future generations don't suffer the consequences of inaction. So, if you're as passionate about this as I am, make sure to spread the word, educate others, and push for change in your community. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on the climate crisis and other global issues. Stay informed, stay active, and let's work towards a better world.